Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited because I kind of brought things back down to the basics, and I'm going to show you just only 5 brushes that you need to do your entire face. Yes, your entire face, your eyes, your face, just the basic stuff. If you get really overwhelmed by brushes that are out there, like there are just thousands of brushes, so many brands to choose from. And I mean, like, I'm sure you notice that different bristles they don't look alike, you know? And so it's like, well, which one do you need? And so I recommend one brand, one type that can, in my opinion, kind of do it all, especially if you need pretty basic stuff. If you're a makeup artist or you're doing other things, then I think automatically you're gonna be exploring more options. So this is for the everyday person that just wants things simplified. And if you're like me and it's not like your realm and you just want to be told what to get, you don't want to have to think about it or get confused by reviews, then this is for you. So I hope this is really helpful to you. This is one of my biggest goals on my channel, is that this is actually like, okay, that answered my question, or that was helpful. That is the purpose here. If you want to know just the 5 brushes that I use to create this look and just to do eyeshadow, to do your face, just all that stuff, just blush, bronzer, highlighter, everything, then do keep watching. Okay, so let's get started with our fabulous brushes. And what I usually like to do is to start with my eyes, because in case any color gets around anywhere, you just don't want to have to worry about retouching up the face, because that just adds time. You want, you know, the more fuss-free the better, right? So let's start with the eye tools that I recommend. So I thought of doing this look today. It's only about 2 eyeshadows or so. It's quite simple. It does have a big wing, but that's always optional. But I mean, let's get real. Every part of makeup is optional. So I always get a kick out of when people say, oh, you know, this part's optional. I'm like, well, all of it is. I'm gonna begin with my, oops, hello, little fuzz, with my favorite eye tools. And I'm gonna show you how I like to use this one and how multi-purpose they are. And their kits are a little bit, they're dispersed a little bit differently now, because I bought these several years ago. Which I actually think that they do them better now, and they're less than 10 bucks. It's awesome. So let me show you how to use these and just how much these can do for you. Let's get up and personal. Now you can see how bad my brows are. I can't stand them right now, honestly. I'm waiting to get microbladed, and they're just not, whatever. Let's move on. I like to use the Deluxe Crease Brush. It's a big, large dome brush, and they're all synthetic. Everything I'm using today is synthetic because it can be used with creams as well as powders. And so you want something that can do pretty much everything, right? So let's start by evening out our eyelid. And this is gonna make everything look cleaner no matter what you put on. I could put this primer down and not add anything else, and it would just look better. Like, I could throw on a little bit of mascara and it would still just look nicer, because this brightens the eye area. It's covering up the veins that just don't make you look more fresh and awake, you know? And of course, it's gonna keep everything in place. So it doesn't matter what kind of eye primer you're using. The point is that this brush will be able to cover your eye space really quickly, and it'll go for creams, powders, anything, but I just happen to like using this one to do that really quickly. The next brush that I think that is a must-have is the Base Shadow Brush. This shape is perfect for blending out eyeshadow and is for your crease specifically, so it will work with a million looks. What I'm first gonna do to do just like the basic eyeshadow stuff that I use for almost every single eye look, unless I'm going for a really different technique. So let's call this like the standard eyeshadow technique that I personally like to do. I'm gonna take this kind of peachy color. I'm gonna dip my brush in. It picks up quite a bit. And then I'm gonna focus on my crease here. Try not to overthink this. Just place it in your crease above that crease line, whether you have to invent it or it's just naturally there for you, depending on the type of eye you have, whether it's hooded, monolid, or like a deep crease like mine. We're just adding that shade that helps to blend in any other colors you might want to add if you want to add some more. Okay, so this crease brush has now helped us add that transition color, which just means that that is the shade that helps you to add any other colors you might want to add, and it will help everything blend together and look cohesive. Now, because I want to deepen the color and add some more colors, I'm going to go in with this other one. It's called Chickadee. It looks a little crazy at first, but these kind of shades are actually really flattering on. You'd be surprised. I'm gonna do just the same motions with the same brush. I don't need a different one. The trick here is that I just go a little lower than this one that I just added or finished adding, that peachy shade. When I want to stick closer to the crease line and not buff it up above, I use more of like the tapered tip in there, and that just really wedges nicely into the crease. Put on its side and I just kind of get right in there, right in that crease there. So this brush, this type of brush is fluffy enough that you can blend out eyeshadow, but it's also tapered and pointed enough that you can be a little bit more precise with stronger colors. And then so when I don't have a lot of eyeshadow left on the brush, I will then just take it on its side and just soften those edges. I think I'm going to decide on going just one shadow darker just to add a slightly more dimension. So I'm going to add the shade Morocco. It got a little janky in here. I think I accidentally spilt a setting spray on it or something like that. I wouldn't say that this one is totally essential, but it is a helpful one if you just decide to get a kit just to make things easier for yourself. But it is tapered right up in the center here, like right there. If you can see, yeah. It's like pointed like that, so you still get that point. But it's more densely packed. It's not as fluffy as the second one, and it's smaller. So you can do more detail work. You could buff it under the eyes, you can just stick to the crease, or just the outer corner, stuff like that if you want to play around. You can be as creative or as simple as you want, but this is just the idea of this kind of brush. I'm just putting a little bit on there. It looks like a lot, but it's just a bright color. See how that wedges and fits right in there really well? So it's gonna lay in that color really easily. These are fun colors. Went a lot higher on that one. So I'll just bring this one up higher and just go nuts. Now the thing with a densely packed brush is that it's not really meant for blending out, smoothing things out. So I'm gonna go back to this little guy, and I'm just going to soften those edges and make sure things are just smoothed out and blended together. It only takes a second to kind of go back and do this step. Now that I have the fun crease colors, I'm gonna add just a light kind of vanilla shade, kind of more like yellow vanilla shade, just to make the eyelid pop a little bit more, and this is called Mirage. It could be anything you want. You could just leave it like that and just use the primer as that lighter shade. But I always like to play more with makeup, so just whatever you have. So going in with this again, multi-purpose. I am just pressing that all over the lid. And I am keeping that separate from the colors that I did in the crease. That adds a slight little pop. And this has like the softest, most subtle sheen to it. It's a really nice color. Okay, so far we've used 3 different brushes. Out of all of them, this one is by far my top recommendation because you can do so much with this. And I really just don't think you could make really great eyeshadow without this kind of brush. Okay, now I'm just gonna do that black wing liner, and then we'll move on to the rest of the face and show you what I think is just like the bare essentials. Okay, you guys, so I threw on some gel liner, which is one of the easier ways for me to do a wing, even though I actually had to fiddle with it a little bit this time. But I used the Maybelline Eye Studio gel liner, which is actually really great. I just loaded it up on my brush. got it done. I'm gonna throw on some eyelashes and then we will do the face. Hey you guys, so we have lashes on, the whole upper eye area is done. So let's move on to the face. Let's move out, but stay fairly close. It's pretty close, right? Close enough. I'm gonna stick to just some basic brushes here today. Real simple. So let's start with it's called the buffing brush. I'm gonna use this for foundation. So today I am just going to use a liquid foundation, and it's just in a little sample pot because I just haven't bothered to get it yet because I was kind of going back and forth if I wanted to use it. This is the Bobbi Brown Longwear foundation. So no matter what your base is, whether it's only moisturizer, a tinted moisturizer, a BB cream, CC cream, whatever, it doesn't matter because this will do the job because this works with liquid and powder. But you know what I'm saying? So it's just easy. Let's go ahead and just press this foundation in place. I like to do this motion mostly with these kind of buffing brushes. They're fairly flat topped, especially compared to like eyeshadow brushes. Here we go. Because they're meant to just press that product in where you need it. And this is a pretty good size. It's not too huge, but it's not so small that it'll take forever to kind of just cover your face. I like to get foundation on my temples because I'm pretty veiny there, and I just think that when you cover up veins, everything looks a lot more clean. It's surprising what a difference that can make. You don't have to be a heavy makeup wearer to do these kinds of things. Okay, so we have just that light, even layer of foundation. Really easy. This is a good size to get it done fairly quickly. I would do it in real time, but I honestly think it would just be a little too boring, but it was quick. Now let's conceal the under eyes. I'm gonna use Maybelline Fit Me today, another drugstore product that is excellent. And I'm gonna cover up these dark circles. Anywhere I have little doodads, because I may or may not have picked at myself today. So naughty. Just to show you a quick comparison of how I like to do face brushes, I like to have a good face base brush and then one that is really similar to it to do all the touching up and get into the nooks and crannies just with more ease and speed. And so this is my high-end duo that I love to use from Bobbi Brown. But for drugstore, you could do something like this. So I know that this comes with the eye brushes. Just brush this off on just like a hand towel or I don't know, paper towel, what are they called, face cloths? Just dab in my concealer. Now usually I use a beauty sponge for this, and I typically use the beauty blender, but that's not drugstore. But again, my point is to show you just the bare minimum basics of brushes that you need and that you don't really need more than that. So you can do your concealer with this brush. You just need a cloth with you. That's the only thing you really need to just help keep it clean in between the different things that you're doing. I'm just gonna set the under eye. This is my favorite powders from Laura Mercier. It's a secret brightening powder. I'm gonna show you my last face brush. If you can use this clean before you put any color on it, this is called the contour brush, but it works great for the under eye. So I'm just gonna press it in here, tap it off, and then just like press it lightly under the eye. Make sure, I'll just take my finger as long as it's clean, and just press in that concealer and just smooth over the creases before I set them in place. I don't know if you can hear that, but Grandma's playing with the babies. So we're just gonna throw on a little bit of color on the face, and we're gonna just stick to these two. That's it. I'm gonna use my trusty little bronzer here. This is the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion. It's really good. And I'm actually gonna use the contour brush to stick to just adding definition in the hollows of my cheeks. So watch this. Boom, bada, boom, boom. I'm just gonna lay that color down. This is for really adding definition. And I'm just sticking it in the hollows of my cheeks. And then when I can feel and tell that there's not much product left on the brush, I'm then just gonna kind of disperse that product and blend it out. Again, because this has a nice small tip and it's not a big brush, you can be more precise. So I can add a little bit of definition and color to my nose. If you're wondering why I do that, it's because I'm trying to even out where I'm placing the bronzer. I don't like to just put it on my cheeks. I feel like it's more unnatural and obvious looking if you don't put it a little bit everywhere. Your nose is a high point on your face, so it's naturally gonna catch the sun really easily. So it just makes sense to put a little bit of color there, as well as your forehead. And I can get right in there to where I'm losing all my hair, thanks to postpartum hair loss. It's a wonderful thing. Not really. I'm gonna do a little bit of blush and a little bit of, a little bit of blush and highlighting. And my blush today is going to be MAC Melba. I haven't used this in a really long time, and it's just a nice neutral peachy color. So let's try the other brush, the foundation one. It's more like fully fits in the pan, and it's just kind of sticking there. So I'll be trying to be the product more up here, and then it kind of stamped it. It's not bad. I think that would just, that's just more trial and error. Actually, this is kind of good. This is good. This is good. That only took a second to realize how that placed it down. And this is much faster because it's bigger. Okay, going back to the contour brush, I am just wiping my, let me just show you what I've been doing. Here is an old burp rag, a burp cloth, because this has that nice towel texture. I'm wiping my brushes off in between each application, or more, even more so in between products, and it cleans it really good. So let's do the last thing. We're gonna do, on the face, like pinch my finger. This is a cult classic from Bobbi Brown. This is the Bronze Shimmer Brick, and I adore it very much. I'm gonna go like this, and we're going to add some love and glow to the face while sticking to those kind of bronzy tones. And this shape is perfect to do the tops of the cheekbones like that. Even the nose. Just whacking it on there, you guys. Not thinking too much about it. I'm gonna take my pinky finger and I'm just going to go in here and give myself an inner highlight. Because I had that in that original picture that I showed at the beginning, and I thought it looked really good. Whew, yes. Just really brightens things up. It's so pretty. Last but not least, we're just gonna throw in a little bit of shadow under the eyes to just wrap that up. And I'm going to go back into the shading brush. I'm telling you, these brushes are great. I go back into just these two. It's just like wedges into areas so well. Like it goes and it hugs that underline, the lower lash line so well. Or I could turn it on its side because it has that taper, and then go like this too. So that's Chickadee, and then we'll add Morocco. Just a little bit. I put Morocco right on that very tip there, and it made it so easy to make sure that a little less went on and that it stuck closer to my lash line. And it kind of just does the job for you, you know? Last but not least, I already have a little bit of gloss on just because my lips get dried out, especially with all this hardware in my mouth. So I'm just gonna throw in a little bit of lip liner from NYX. This is in the shade Natural. They look a little crazy, but we're gonna cover it with some super sparkly lip gloss anyways. This is my favorite lip gloss, and it's in the shade Celeste, which is uber sparkly, and I love it. If you love sparkle and for a lip gloss to really stay in place and just feel plump and delicious, you need to try this. Seriously. And it has like a cooling tingle effect. Oh, I love these. You know what I forgot? I forgot the brow bone. Let me just do that with my finger really quick. So I threw it on with my ring finger, and then with my middle finger I softened it just really quick here. Fun, huh? So I know it's like a huge wing and huge lashes, but the point is that you can do your entire face with really affordable, really multifunctional, well-made brushes. And these just happen to be my favorite brand. And it's just easy if you want to just grab the kit for the face and the eyes, like you are just good to go. So let me know what you think below in the comments. If these are helpful to you, if you already use them and they're just like awesome. If you have any questions, drop me a line and I will see you next time, you guys. Take care. Bye. Come here, Bobbi. Here's my little man. He's almost 6 months old. Yeah. Next week, oh, there's so much to look at.